Hello and welcome. I'm Sam Horn, and this is Words Matter 3 of our Tongue Fu series. Once again, I hope you have your paper in front of you. We have the word but on the left and the word and on the right. And now let's tell a story, listen for the word that's doing all the damage, and then we'll talk about how we can replace it with something that helps instead of hurts. When I lived in Hawaii, I had a good friend who was a football coach on the Big Island. Now, his high school team is tied with another team on the island. This is the final game of their season, and the score is tied. It's the fourth quarter, and they've got the ball, and they're marching down the field. Their quarterback throws a perfect pass, and their best receiver, who is his son, is racing down the sidelines. Here comes the ball, and he does something he's been told 100 times never to do. What's that? You're right, he takes his eyes off the ball. He cannot resist sneaking behind him to see how much he beat the defender, and when he looks behind him, that ball goes right through his hands and on the ground. He feels terrible. He starts trudging back to the bench. My friend, the coach, is so caught up in the emotion of the game, without really thinking what he's doing, he starts yelling at his son. "Johnny, you should have kept your eyes on that ball. My gosh, it was a touchdown pass." He said, "You had the game in your hands and you blew it." And he didn't stop. And after a moment, his son couldn't take it anymore, and he stood up and he looked at his dad. He said, "Dad, it was a mistake." He said, "I didn't mean to do it. I never want to play for you again." And after the game was over, he got a ride home with someone else. And when he got home, he went right upstairs and he didn't even talk to his father. And my friend called me in the morning. He said, "Sam, I know what I said just made things worse." He said, "What are you supposed to say when someone makes a stupid mistake?" And I said, "Charlie, do you know anyone who can undo the past? Because if someone makes a mistake and we tell them what they should have done, they will resent us even if we're right. In fact, they'll resent us, especially if we're right, because they're feeling shamed and humiliated and they can't undo it. When someone makes a mistake and we tell them what they should have done, we're coming across as a critic, and that person is losing face and they will resent us. So what do we say instead when people make a mistake? Over on the right, the words next time, from now on, in the future. Next time a ball comes to you, keep your eyes on it no matter what. Now listen for other examples. Instead of "you should have called if you were going to be late." From now on, if you're going to be more than 5 minutes late, please call so that I know you're on your way and don't have to worry about covering your shift. Instead of "you should have been more careful." From now on, please be more careful so that you can be safe even in these conditions. Instead of "well, you should have talked to Bob. He was the one in charge of that." From now on, please talk with Bob. He's the one in charge of that. Do you hear how the word "should" criticizes behavior? The words "next time," "from now on," or "in the future" coach behavior. The word "should," people will resent us. And the word "next time," or "from now on," or "in the future," people respect us because we're treating them with respect. You know, my dad used to say we can't motivate people to do better by making them feel bad. And the word "should" makes people feel bad, and it doesn't teach them how to do better. In fact, I had the privilege of working with Rod Laver in the tennis industry. Now, Rod Laver, if you play tennis, you probably know he won the Grand Slam of tennis twice. This is the Australian Open, French Open, Wimbledon, and the US Open, all full tournaments, all in the same year. I was playing with Rod one time. Now, I wasn't a pro. I ran the pro shop. I was a decent tennis player, a 4-5 tennis player, but Rocket could beat me with one arm tied behind his back. But he was giving me a little bone on that day. So it was my ad, and if I win one more point, I'm going to take a game off Rocket. So he's making me work for it. He's pulling me right, he's pulling me right, he's running me back, he's bringing me up. And finally, he throws up a pretty weak lob. If I just come and put this overhead away, I am going to take a game off Rocket. So I come in my eagerness, I commit the cardinal sin of overheads. If you play tennis, you know what that is. I pulled my head down. I didn't hit the ball. I missed the ball and I erupted. I should have kept my head up. I know better than that. Now, Rocket was known for being a great sports person, and he waited for me to calm down, and then he went like this. And he said, Sam, champions never use the word should. They always focus on next time. How about you? Whether it's you make a mistake or someone else makes a mistake, instead of focusing on what they did wrong and telling them what they should have done, which serves no good purpose, how about focusing on how they can do it right? Instead of why they did it wrong this time, how they can do it right next time. Now we're being a coach instead of a critic. People are learning from their mistakes instead of losing face over their mistakes. And we are treating them with the respect we all want, need, and deserve, and we're turning mistakes into lessons. I'm Sam Horn. Look forward to seeing you for our next Word to Lose and Word to Use.